So our next lovely lady to grace our stage is Samantha Yap, and she is the founder and director of YAP Global, which stands for
Your Angle Presented
Globally, which is an international PR firm specifically focused on blockchain, crypto, and all of the emerging technologies. Because at the end of the day, if you have a business idea or an app or something, if you can't put it into words that really gets the person you're trying to sell to, you're not going to get anywhere in life. So what YAP Global do is they really work on the storytelling so that you can get your product and business out to market successfully. So without further ado, please give a very warm welcome to Samantha Yap.
Thank you. Thanks for that introduction. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the evolving media narratives surrounding blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies as we are in the PR business. And before I start, I'd like to give you a brief introduction about my background. So I was originally a journalist. I studied journalism in Melbourne, where I'm originally from. And then straight out of uni, I moved to Singapore to work as a reporter, and then I also freelanced in Indonesia. So I loved telling stories. I loved meeting people on the ground, and basically telling people stories in whatever shape or form. So that's either through print, through TV or radio. And now, fast forward to this year. This was my year. Just to give you a brief snapshot of what I do and what we've done this year is, first, this is my team. They're sitting right here. This is us in Prague at DevCon. DevCon's, Ethereum's like the Ethereum Foundation's original, developer conference. That's us training the MyEtherWallet team in LA. For those of you who don't know, MyEtherWallet's Ethereum's original wallet interface. We were flown out there just to train them, give them some media training, training. And then that's us in Switzerland, also training Bitty, which is a Swiss cryptocurrency brokerage firm. And then, we also threw a party in Prague, and so this was my year, and it was kind of crazy. And so a brief snapshot of how I got here. Well, this is me and my background as a journalist, international journalist, working in Melbourne, Singapore, to Jakarta. And then how I fell into this is, so last year I fell into fintech PR. So that's when I started getting into this, the technology space, but also fintech in particular. And then one of the first companies that I brought on for the firm that I was working at in Melbourne was the Blockchain Center in Melbourne, and they were like a co-working space with a focus on blockchain and cryptocurrency startups. And that's when I delved into this whole industry. I fell down the rabbit hole. I even created my own coin called YAP Coin. It has no value. It actually costs me Bitcoin to send it. But I used some for those of you who know it, it's the XCP counterparty coin. I didn't actually really know what I was doing, but it was just fun, and it made me more motivated to learn more about this technology. And so then I moved to the UK for personal reasons, but because my partner's here. But then I started getting requests on LinkedIn from startups in the space that needed PR support. They needed a communications team, but there wasn't a lot of people that understood this industry. And so then I started bringing on clients on my own, and that's how I was able to start YAP Global. And as Susan had said, YAP Global stands for Your Angle Presented Globally. And it's founded based on basically the value of the media and it's the power of it to shape our perceptions about the world. I mean, how many of you, when you want to learn about something, you do a quick Google search, and most of the time you're either referring to articles or you're reading about what you want to learn about, and we're referring to news and media stories. And so that's, I think that the media and journalism and it's a powerful tool for people to learn about this industry, and we're very passionate about educating people about blockchain and cryptocurrencies. And so our mission is to be the bridge between quality journalism, bringing my background as a journalist, and emerging technology companies who are making a difference in the world. Now, first, I just want to show of hands. I know there are a few of you that maybe know about blockchain and crypto, so how many of you know what Bitcoin is? Okay. How many of you know what blockchain technology is? Okay, so most of you are quite well versed. How many knew what cryptocurrencies are? And what ICOs are? Okay, so a few of you guys. Okay, awesome. So for those that don't know, I always like going back to the basics. Now, the way I'm gonna explain and maybe simplify what these terms are, there are different ways to do it, but here's how I would put it to say someone like the average person on the street who may not know about Bitcoin and may not know what this technology is. So I'd say that Bitcoin is the world's first decentralized digital currency. Blockchain, a shared database secured by cryptography. And then I put in brackets complex math, because when you say cryptography, not a lot of people understand what it means. And with cryptocurrencies, a digital currency that uses cryptography for security, and initial coin offering, like crowdfunding, but with cryptocurrencies. So I've really kind of simplified it here because last week I was just in Hong Kong for this Digital Media Asia conference, and I was actually talking to this CNN producer who was putting together a program on blockchain technology. And these journalists, they're covering different, they have to cover news, different topics every single day. So blockchain is only one part of what they have to think about and research about. And she had trouble just wrapping her head around what blockchain technology is and what Bitcoin is. And so yeah, it really helps to really make it simple and easy to understand, and that's what we do every day. We talk to there's still journalists, mainstream journalists, that still don't know about this technology, and we're educating them about it every single day, because to them, their audience, if their audience doesn't get it, then they're not going to write about it. So, okay, if you just, sorry, go back. So I brought this term up particularly because today, when I want to talk about the evolving media narrative around this industry, I want to talk about the perceptions, the shifting perceptions about what ICOs are. So a lot of you may know that the ICO craze kicked off in June, July last year. And that's when a lot of people started getting into the space and started getting really excited about it, and a lot of people started adopting it. So that's why I'm sharing the Bitcoin chart. I always like referring to this because I feel we observe that the price of Bitcoin and also the price of the market really also impacted media attention on this technology and this topic. So as you can see, June, July 2017 was when the price started, the Bitcoin price started to hike. And for those of you who have been watching this space and have observed it, it peaked in December last year, but that's when people started getting really interested in it, and then it was also when the media started to pay more attention to it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a really quick overview of the news reporting surrounding ICOs and surrounding this technology from June 2017 to now. So quick one. So June 2017 is when the Ethereum unleashed the initial coin offering craze. What captures people's attention was when Bancor, an emerging cryptocurrency startup, raised $153 million in less than 3 hours. This got people, this got people's attention, it got people talking, because here you have tech companies that work really hard and are pitching, their stories to their startups to VCs, just trying to raise 1 to 2 million in Series A funding. And here you have a startup that no one's heard before raise $153 million in 3 hours. So that got people looking into what ICOs are. Then in July, another record got broken. Tezos in the US raised $232 million with initial coin offering. I mean, these figures are like, I mean, it was crazy. And so that's, this kind of fueled people's attention about what ICOs are. And then in August, that's when, you see like CNBC started to become more wary about and understand what cryptocurrencies and ICOs are. But, this headline, it's a very good time to be a money launderer and you can thank cryptocurrencies. So they started to, the mainstream financial business press started to pay a little bit more attention to it. And at the same time, you started to see, financial regulators and governments making moves to kind of regulate this industry. In September, another record-breaking ICO, Filecoin, raised $257 million in an ICO. But at the same time, China moved to ban ICOs. And this was huge and had a big impact in the market because there were a lot of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency holders that were in China. So if you've got China banning it, then that kind of impacted the demand for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Then in October, it got to the point where the New York Times and Wall Street Journal were like, okay, so ICOs are a thing, let's put out some explainers, let's start explaining to people and giving an overview about what ICOs are. So this was in October. And so it kind of also signaled that the fact that these publications started to talk about it and write about it, it showed that there was interest in this, this technology and this new way of raising money. Then in November, some high-profile cases, so the Tezos founders were being sued for securities fraud in a potential class action case by the SEC. And so that put a damper on the activity and the, of ICOs. And then at the same time, Singapore's financial regulator started to issue ICO guidelines. Others did follow as well. So that was kind of in November when people started to, the financial regulators started to take more action into regulating and protecting investors who were engaging with ICOs. But at the same time, I don't know if you guys remember, the Bitcoin price started to hike. And these stories, it was going rapidly because, and I also, I just want to say I admire cryptocurrency journalists because they could write a story one morning and put, okay, the Bitcoin price is at 7K, and then the evening when they submit the story, it could be another price. And so that was really interesting, and it was covering this space, it moves super fast. And in November alone, you saw the price go up, from 7,000 to 11,000, and you can see the dates. It was 2nd of November, mid-November to the 29th, and it was just going up, and every single story was a story about the price of Bitcoin. So that was that also added to the noise about this industry. And it was these stories don't really say much. It was just it was just a story about, okay, now the price is higher, what does it mean? And it got people's attention. Yeah. And then in December, more stories like this started to take place, and the prices just, hiked up. And at the same time in December, CME, one of the largest derivatives marketplace in the world, said that they were going to launch Bitcoin futures, opening it up to traditional investors. And then there were stories about, how the Bitcoin price started to fall slightly, and people were analyzing why. But then this happened. Bitcoin peaked at 20,000, which was massive news. And that was a good way to end the year, but it kind of left a lot of questions the following year. And so in January, then there started to be, the media started to be quite wary and more critical about this technology. People, stories about how Bitcoin futures are getting burned, investors set to suffer losses as cryptocurrency fever fades, and then at the same time, Facebook decided to ban ICO ads. So yeah, that was the start of this year. And then in February, more stories about how the SEC, were probing into ICOs, and that also put a damper on the activity and the hype around ICOs. At the same time, aside from Facebook, you saw Twitter and Google also make a move to ban ICO ads. And then in April, more SEC actions being taken place, people being charged with fraud, and so that also impacted the market in a way. And then Blockchain Week, which was in New York, a big story came out saying that cryptocurrency wealth dropped by 52 billion. And it was interesting because in the lead up to consensus, people were like, okay, the price is going to rally, the price is going to go up, but really people lost wealth and not even Snoop Dogg performance could save it. I would know because I was there. I was in New York and Ripple threw a party, and you started to see celebrity endorsement coming into this industry. They booked out this warehouse. And Snoop Dogg came out he smoked smoked some weed with some people. It was a lot of fun, but it didn't really save the price either. And then in June, the SEC started to say, okay, Ethereum, which is what ICOs were basically run on, are not a security. And then the price started to surge. And then Facebook started to reverse its ban on cryptocurrencies. In July, this was a good analysis on how over 800 cryptocurrencies in the past, probably, I say 6 to 7 months are dead, and the Bitcoin price is 70% off its record high. So it's just an overview of what the market is. And then so there's now talk, in August there was now talk about the security token offerings. And at the same time you're seeing Bitcoin, one of China's, the world's largest Bitcoin miner, weigh in on a $18 billion IPO. So you're seeing these companies now move into the traditional financial world. Google ended its ban on cryptocurrency-related advertising, and people are still, and then Bloomberg, they started, they're also still weighing in on the lessons learned from considering an ICO. And then last month, you started to see more talk about, 5 things investors need to know about security tokens. At the same time, though, still MasterCard and Visa classified crypto and ICOs as high risk. So it still showed that the traditional financial world was still wary about this industry. At the same time, Fidelity, which is one of the largest asset managers in the US that manages $2.5 trillion in assets, they've just made it easier for hedge funds and other people to invest in cryptocurrency. So that kind of opened doors a little bit more to this industry. And then, just this month, some highlight stories are that Ethereum, a decentralized exchange run on Ethereum, was charged for operating an unregistered exchange. And then at the same time, Singapore's central bank and stock exchange are looking to settle tokenized assets on the blockchain. So I just want to encourage you guys, after after today, whenever you read news stories about cryptocurrencies, there are two types of stories. There are stories about the price of it, the speculative value about the cryptocurrency in the space. And then there's the real world use cases about blockchain technology, how it can be used in, for like identity, for securing identity, for real estate, and then for energy. Yep. So, I mean, which one's more important? And so just to give you guys an overview of like some nice use case stories, I just thought I'd share some headlines. How Thai rappers have stored a song on a privacy blockchain to fight censorship. You're also seeing like Walmart lead a blockchain effort to have a farm to aisle view of the supply chain, so you know exactly where your food is coming from. You're seeing like decentralized, insurance company looking to revolutionize disaster relief payouts. So these are really nice stories that we love and we like to tell. And that's it. You can find out more about me here.